Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode, guys. And if this is your first time on the channel, if you could please do us a quick favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, let us know if you've checked out this limited edition bourbon, and we'll get the conversation continued at the Whiskey Explorer. And if you guys want to as well, you can follow me on Instagram at Whiskey Explorer1. Always appreciate the follows and the conversations that happen there, so please go and find me on Instagram as well. Alright guys, and tonight we've got a very interesting bottle. We have got Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's Day Edition. Alright guys, so this is a limited edition whiskey coming from Kentucky Owl, and this is specifically made as sort of a celebration for St. Patrick's, and this is actually in collaboration with an Irish whiskey bonder. So kind of interesting. Her name is on the bottle here. It's Louise McGuane, and she is an Irish whiskey bonder. Don't know exactly what that is, but it's also made in conjunction with the master blender rather of Kentucky Owl, John Rea. So of course Kentucky Owl is famous because that's Dixon Dedman's old brand, and of course he famously sold that to Stoli, and Stoli took over, and everyone kind of, it's a controversial brand because when they come out with their batch bourbon releases, they're like $300+ US, so they're just kind of ridiculously priced, and mixed reviews on those ones, guys. So you know, what can I say? Very controversial brand, but nonetheless, I thought it'd be cool to get the bottle on the channel here. Thanks so much to my buddy Kyle for loaning this to me for the review. We actually had this muled from Calgary because we couldn't get it here, and I think he paid about $130, or you know, somewhere between $130 to $150 Canadian for this special edition Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's Day Edition. So it is, you know, kind of a hefty price tag. I think the MSRP was around $100 US. It is bottled at 50% ABV or 100 proof. And it is actually, I have to admit, a kind of cool looking bottle. Here we go with this one here, guys. So quickly taking a look in the color of the glass before we go in for a nose. This is actually a super light color. So this is like light copper, definitely not very dark at all, and that sort of leads me to believe that this is made with some pretty young bourbon. But we shall go in for a taste and find out. On the nose, guys, cheers. Okay. Oh, this is weird. Oh my gosh, so guys, I am not getting anything here on the nose except for a grain and an ethanol hit. So that is definitely disappointing going into the nosing on this one. Wow, there's just like nothing else going on. There's this really kind of prominent sort of corn and grain note. Youthful, kind of rough spirit here. That's what it smells like, at least. Definitely like a pretty high ethanol hit for it only being, it's only 50%, so 100 proof. This is release number 1 of this St. Patrick's Day edition. It's a limited release, so I don't know if they'll be coming out with it again, but yeah, it's right now on the nose, it's smelling very youthful, hardly getting anything at all, maybe a very, very faint hint of like young kind of unripe cherry. But it's like ethanol forward, grainy, and not very much else going on in the nose at all. Yeah, maybe like a strawberry or something. There's almost like a grassy kind of note here as well. This is just kind of bizarre, guys. I don't even know what to make of this. Like, I'm just not getting the traditional notes that I can, you know, easily pull from a glass of bourbon. This is just kind of way out there. This is weird. Yep, grain, youthfulness, ethanol, kind of a grassy hay note, a little bit of a floral component here, and then maybe some like, yeah, some young kind of unripe cherry, unripe strawberry almost. Very weak nose. Let's go in for a taste on the palate. I'm not having high hopes here, guys. Cheers. Oh, this is very young. This is some young bourbon here. So what I'm getting on the palate is like a quintessential craft bourbon, kind of hovering in somewhere the 3 to 5 year range. Unripe strawberry, unripe cherry, tart, ethanol driven, heavy corn, grain note. That sort of gives way to a mid palate of a little bit of vanilla sweetness. The finish falls off a cliff. There is nothing to hang on to on the finish here much at all. Maybe a little bit of confectionery sugar, but that's it. This is a disappointment, guys, no doubt. Especially price point wise, you know, this was like 130 bucks Canadian. Definitely not worth that. I can tell you guys right now, do not go out and seek this one. So I would say the story behind this bottle is kind of a cool looking bottle, and the story ends there. The bourbon inside is not good. Let's go in for a second sip just to make sure I'm not wrong. Here we go, guys. On the palate, second sip. Cheers. Yeah, so this has all the earmarkings of a young craft bourbon. A little bit like fiery in terms of like rough spirit. Ethanol punches a little bit higher than it should for the proof. You've got this kind of very youthful, unripe cherry, unripe strawberry note. That's what leads the palate. Transitions to a little bit of vanilla sweetness, but it's just not interesting enough to keep your attention. The finish falls off a cliff. It's just very flat. This bourbon kind of hits that peak very quickly at the front of the palate, then plateaus, right? And even the flavors that are there in the beginning, they're not anything to write home about anyways. So I would definitely give this one a pass, guys, if you see it on the shelf. Even if it's on sale like this one was, give this one a wide berth. All right, guys. So thanks so much for joining me for this review. Until next time, may your sails be full and your drowns be fuller. Cheers.